This episode of the Real ResQ podcast is brought to you by Breeze Eastern, the world's only dedicated helicopter hoist and winch provider. SR3 Rescue Concepts, because you don't know what you don't know. And Life Saving Systems Corporation. We do our work so you can do yours. Tough gear for tough jobs. Breeze Eastern. They dedicate themselves to our helicopter rescue world. Since the very first helicopter rescue in November of 1945, Breeze Eastern has designed and manufactured superior rescue hoist solutions. While much of the technology and the unique mission requirements have changed over the past 75 years, their commitment to the rescuers, the operators, and those being rescued has not. Contact them today by visiting them at breeze-eastern.com. SR3 Rescue Concepts is a training company that can help with your helicopter training, a standardization and safety check, or maybe just an audit or an FAA refresher. They are here to bring your agency up to date with the most current techniques, rules, regulations, and equipment. The training staff is awesome. With a certified flight instructor pilots, experienced crew members, which I am happy to say that I am one of them, they offer training in rescue, medical, tactical, firefighting, ground operations, and night vision goggle use. SR3 is also partnered with Petzl to assist with personal protective equipment and the highly specific Lazard. SR3 also goes beyond the helicopter world as they provide high-angle rescue training and tactical medicine training. Contact them today at sr3rescueconcepts.com or over on Instagram at sr3_rescue. And Life Saving Systems Corporation. They manufacture the world's toughest helicopter rescue gear. From my favorite harness as a rescueman, the Triton harness, to the rescue baskets, the litters, and of course, the most popular hook in all helicopters, the D-Lock. The team at LSC will cut, bend, sew, weld, and machine these products into existence every day. We do our work so you can do yours. LSC. Tough gear for tough jobs. Check them out today at lifesavingsystems.com and follow them on Instagram at Rescue Gear. That's at ResQGEAR. I had a super fun time with our next guest, especially because he's from New York and I'm from Boston, so we had to give each other a little bit of a hard time. But he's a retired pilot from the New York City Police Department, my friend, Mr. Glenn Hoffman. My name is Jason Quinn. I am United States Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer number 500. These are my rescues and rescues from those of us that put our lives on the line every day so others may live. This is the Real ResQ podcast.
Okay,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Real ResQ podcast. Today I have sitting with me, which I'm very excited about, Mr. Glenn Hoffman. What's up?
What's up there, Jason?
How you doing?
Oh, good. Except for that Boston logo you have on.
I was waiting for this to come out because, so for everybody out there, yeah, you're from New York. I'm from Boston. We're like oil and water.
So good thing there's a whole table between us because, we could be rolling on the floor. Go Yankees.
Go Red Sox. Oh, that's awesome. Dude, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it, man. This is good stuff.
This should be fun.
Yeah. So for everybody else out there, if you don't mind, just give yourself a little introduction. Tell everybody about yourself, where you're from, and how you got into what you got into.
Glenn Hoffman. I'm retired from the New York City Police Department. Did just about 17 years. I retired a little early. Retired from the aviation unit, which is we fly the air support for the police department. We are sworn officers. I was a detective when I retired. And now I work out here in the desert flying oil and gas and a whole lot in between before I came out here.
Right. What'd you do in between? Kind of curious.
I when I retired from the police, I was an instructor for Augusta Westland, teaching the Augusta aircraft,
Oh, nice.
and also flew corporate 109s. I flew sightseeing and charter. I managed a company.
Did you fly sightseeing around like New York?
Sightseeing, yeah.
Oh.
That was probably one of the most fun jobs. 10-minute chat, you know.
Low and slow?
Well,
Kind of ribbon?
wasn't low.
Yankee Bank? Come
Yeah,
on.
yanking back, and yeah, we did a lot of fun things around the Hudson River. We used to call it the Hudson 500.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because it was just like a racetrack pattern, and we just go back and forth.
Come up around the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Woo! Rip around it.
A 180 around the lady.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
And try to get as many screams as possible.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Dude, that's a good time.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, man. So how did you get into being a cop?
Well,
I'm sorry, a law enforcement agent.
That's better. A cop is a derogatory statement.
Not in New York, it's not. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
I know better.
When I was in the Navy, and
Squid.
I was a squid, a sailor.
You know what? I can say that because I was a puddle jumper. So.
Yeah, a knee deep sailor you were. You went out past the break line. You guys
we get scared. Yeah. Thanks, Navy.
Yeah. So the last one in the years I was on active duty, the last year or so, I was assigned to the base police. We took over the security detachment from the Marines because they had taken all the Marines off guarding the bases and they put them back into the fleet.
Oh, nice.
I guess they were preparing for the first Desert Storm, in hindsight, because they took all the Marines away from regular doing security work, just where they were needed, and then the rest reverted back to the Navy. And as a temporary assignment from the squadron, they asked people to do it, and I just was tired of just doing an everyday thing with the Navy squadron.
Yeah.
So I volunteered for we don't call it shore patrol. There was just called security detachment, and I got trained in law enforcement. And at the time, the NYPD was doing this big, massive hiring, safe city, safe streets, and we had to maintain 40,000 police officers to get the federal money.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite amazing.
Wow.
I would tell you my number, and I probably, if I looked on my ID card, it would tell you the number I was exactly, where I sat in that 40,000. But so I took the civil service exam because you have to take a civil service test, and it was $15. I remember. Now it's free, I understand, but it was $15 back then.
You get
and
screwed
$15 in the 80s, man.
What the heck?
Wow,
That's like a
man,
full
that was
tank of
a lot.
gas.
That's like a week's pay. And and so I took the test, and it took me 3 years to get hired. Yeah, because they kept having delays on the hiring, and kind of bummed me out. But it gave me time to do my flying and get my pilot certificates. And nice. I went out, and first they paid for the airplane ratings, all my fixed wing, not all of them at the time, but my private. And then I switched over to helicopters, and I did that. And when I got hired with the police in 1990, did the academy, did street time. I applied for the aviation unit, and fortunately, very fortunately, I was picked up to the unit.
Man, that's awesome.
And I spent just shy of 16 years in the unit.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did my academy time. I did a year and change on the street as a police officer, and then I was assigned to the aviation unit. And,
Sweet.
Wow, what a ride, man! Coming from the old timers that were there, they were hardcore, old school police officers. You shut up or you get punched in the mouth. You know,
That's New York, baby.
That's
Come on.
New York, man. I was just telling somebody, you know, the two similarities between the military back in the day. I don't know how true it is today, but back in the day, the two similarities were of the military and the police were, you know, you do the right thing, you know, do your job, and if you don't, you get punched in the mouth. You know, by a man, not by a kid.
No.
You know, street fights growing up in Brooklyn were normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I grew up. So, you know, street fight, big deal. You know,
Yeah.
you're getting punched by a kid.
Yeah.
You know, when you're an adult and you get punched in the mouth by a man, it's a different story. You know, it's a true.
Hurts a little longer.
You know, you tend not to do stupid things too often. You know, you do it once. The next time.
Yeah.
You know
what? I think that goes all the way up through the Northeast because that was the same with me too growing up. Like, come on, man.
You know, it just was like, wise up or get punched. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Anyway, you know, we weren't a violent crew, but you know, but so now when I got to I was a kid. You know, to them, I was a kid. To me, I thought I was a man. You know, I spent 4 years on active duty. I waited 3 years to get hired. I got hired on the police when I was 25. And when I got there, the members of the aviation unit had 20 plus years, every one of them. In the police department. And I was like, they were like, kid. And, you know, some of them were funny. They would talk out of the side of their mouths. They were like, kid, you know, I'm not going to curse on your show, but they use a lot of fun wordage. But what was really surprising about the aviation unit compared to the precinct was how much smarter. And I'm not talking about street smarts. I'm not talking about intelligence, because intelligence is, you know, measured at different ways, right? But as academic, maybe is the proper thing to say, where I never saw a computer before in my life, you know?
Yeah.
Until I went to the aviation unit. And
then all of a sudden you're on it every day.
And they were talking about computers when I got there, and I'm like,
what the hell is that?
Well, you know, computer. You know, I mean, I think I saw one at school. You know, and you
are dating yourself here.
We're talking about computers back in the day. The ones that we did see were green and, you know, DOS or whatever. I don't even know if that's even the right terminology. I'm still not computer savvy. I know you're making fun of your HP because I have an Apple, but no promotion. Yeah, I'm not getting paid
whatever.
For that. But
oh, that's funny.
They were like computer wizards, you know. They were all talking about Pentium. I remember, I want to say Pentium 75s. You know, woo, they were big. And so, you know, I basically grew up with these men teaching me how to use computers that, I mean, I never knew about. And that was just really an interesting aspect of being the youngest member of the aviation unit. We were very small. We only had 4 Jet Rangers at the time.
Okay.
And 2 Bell 412s.
Oh, nice. All right.
And they used the Bell 412s for the rescue work and tactical stuff that we did, and the Jet Rangers for patrol.
Nice.
And we didn't have anything that we have today, you know. So no FLIR, no NVGs, no. I mean, we did have a searchlight.
All right, you got a spotlight. That's
the spotlight.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with the name. SX 15, maybe, whatever, the strongest one, the 30 million candle.
The time
was amazing, but it was the size of a garbage can sitting on the bottom of this Jet Ranger. So, you know, it was like 2 pilots, 30 gallons of fuel, and a searchlight. Yeah. You know,
you're gonna cut the fuel in half just to take off. We're overweighted, boys.
Yeah. And then as the years progressed, we started getting newer equipment because they became available, you know, to the civilian market. You know, obviously, the military had much of this stuff, but it's still antiquated for what we had then to what we have today.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, people would like, who could use this?
Yeah, yeah.
And so we did eventually get FLIR put on, the FLIR actual company FLIR, so thermal imaging by FLIR.
Yeah. FLIR is forward infrared looking. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's not radar, but it's forward.
Infrared.
No, infrared. Yeah, that's it. Infrared.
Forward infrared looking. FLIR.
Yeah, forward looking infrared.
Oh, reverse that. Sorry.
So, which was really cool, and to learn about it, to be part of the process of law enforcement being some of the first departments to get this kind of technology, because the NYPD can afford stuff. Most of these small agencies can't afford,
right?
Let alone a helicopter to then go and buy, the equipment.
Actually,
so between
what?
us and LAPD.
Well, because you say that, it's probably noteworthy right now that the entire New York Police Department is larger number-wise for personnel than the entire United States Coast Guard.
Yeah.
That it's no wonder you have a budget. You probably have a bigger budget than we do.
I want to say probably.
Probably.
Yeah. Our fuel budget's probably bigger than the aviation unit fuel budget's probably bigger than the Coast Guard budget.
Now, I have not looked at any numbers, so
me neither.
This is can be not confirmed nor denied.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I was on, I'm going to take a sip of tea first. When I was on on the police department active, we had, at the beginning it was 40,000 members plus.
That's a lot.
And the reason was we had federal money given to us to maintain that safe city, safe streets, and that was national, throughout the country. It was a federal program. And obviously, once that program finished up, the numbers started dropping. And I think we're around, today, the NYPD is around 33,000.
Still a lot of people.
When I was a rookie, when I got hired, and my academy class was a graduating class of 2,500 members, something like that, some ridiculous number. We had to use Madison Square Garden as our graduation.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
And you'd be surprised, because you know me a little bit. I'm not the most studious of students. Studying and me, I think we have an internal battle between each other. Study? No, why do that? Just memorize it, But don't do that, kids. Study, learn that poem. And people don't even know what that comes from. Learn that poem from the Little Rascals. I mean, you're so young.
No, that's way old school. Yeah. I barely know that. Yeah, right?
We used to go, learn that poem. Yeah. So,
all right, so now let me fast forward a little bit, all right? So you are in the aviation unit. Mm-hmm. Do you remember your first rescue being there?
So I was listening to one of your podcasts, and
thanks, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. I like listening to people that do real exciting stuff. Don't listen to me, because I don't do anything exciting. No, just kidding.
Wow, way to ruin the rest of this podcast. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, don't expect anything big from this one.
And New York PD is just out the window.
But I apologize, because I don't remember his name from the San Diego.
Tony Weber.
So, Tony. He's been doing it forever, 30-something years. And I guess I would be too if I stayed on.
Yeah.
And I know we'd all meet, and I don't know if I actually met Tony, but we'd met at a bunch of us would meet at the Airborne Law Enforcement.
Well, you guys have the ALEA conferences,
conferences and stuff like that. Yeah. And so, a bunch of great guys, San Diego, by the way.
Yeah.
And what he was saying is that they still, to this day, use pilots as hoist operators in the back, which, when I first got into the unit, that's what we did. The pilots were dual. We did piloting, and
Hoist operation.
And in the 412 as a hoist operator.
That's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah, and it really gives you great perspective
Yeah.
of what's going on in the operation, because you could see, as the pilot, know what's happening in the rear.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a big thing for any other operator to actually have the pilots at least do it. You know,
Right.
get to train and do it. Maybe not to stay current doing it. I'm not going to say yes or no on that, because we did get away from it at the NYPD. Our hoist operator, our crew chiefs, we call them,
Yep.
are all our mechanics, and so that was their dedicated task. But when I was a fledgling, pilot, we got to do it, and so the first rescue I did, I was with another crew chief because I was in training.
You did your first rescue while you were in training?
As in the unit, training as a crew chief. Yeah.
And you got your first rescue.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I wasn't even qualified. I didn't know what I was doing. Nothing. I don't even think I had a pair of gloves. That makes
it even better.
The hoist gloves. I don't think I even had a pair. I probably still have the metal splinters in my hand from the. So. And mind you, it's not a daring open water rescue. This was what we call an emotionally disturbed person, an EDP. I think they actually might even stop calling that in the police. I don't know. It may be a derogatory term.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it was called EDP.
Okay.
And so we get this call. There's a EDP on top of the globe, the world, at Flushing Meadow Park. Now, Flushing Meadow Park is where they held the World's Fair in 19-something.
Okay.
1960-something, I don't know. They had the World's Fair. And you ever see Men in Black?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they have those towers, and
Yep.
then they have a globe of the world.
Yeah.
Well, somebody decided to climb to the top of the globe, and he was just sitting up there.
Just chilling.
And so, if somebody made a call, hey, there's somebody up on the thing. Oh, it's a jumper, it's somebody trying to kill themselves.
Yeah.
The reality is the guy just climbed the thing, but he refused to come down. And so they had the helicopter respond, it's a jumper.
Yeah.
And so we flew over there with the 412, and we have all the rescue equipment and gear, and we're stacked to do something, exciting, right?
Yeah.
And we get up there, and we see him. He's sitting up. He's just sitting up there, and we're looking at him. He's got a crown on his head. He's wearing. And you can't make this stuff.
I'm king of the world.
He's like, I'm king of the world. He's wearing a Burger King. No, I'm not endorsing Burger King. But he's wearing a Burger King crown. The ones that they give out. And he's eating. He's sitting like this is his place to hang out. Like, he's just chilling up there, and he's eating his burger. He's got the crown on. And he's eating the thing. And we look at each other like, and they're like, our supervisor, like, you got to get him down. You got to get him down. He's got a harness on. He's got ropes. I mean, he climbed it.
He climbed it.
He's probably safer up there than us trying to rescue him, but we have to rescue him.
Okay.
Because he's in danger. You know what I'm saying? This is I'm making fun of it because it's the, I don't even know what to say. When people are telling us what to do, we're not in charge, right?
Yeah.
We're the worker bees.
Roger that.
And so we get told to do it, and we go out, and and now how do we go about doing this? So we're telling him, come to the helicopter. He's shaking his head. We can't communicate with him because we're the noise of the helicopter, obviously.
Yeah.
So the tactical commanders down on the ground, the bosses, tell us, give him a radio, a portable radio, so we can talk to him. And like, how are we going to get it? I can't drop it to him, you know?
Yeah.
So the pilot said, we're going to land. We're going to put the skid on the globe, on the top of the globe.
Just do a little towing.
And we're going to step out.
Okay.
And so I was with the other crew chief.
I love where this is going.
The other crew chief, Brendan Galligan, great guy, Detective Brendan Galligan. We got promoted together, so I could say detective.
Nice.
Defective detectives.
Yeah.
Great dude. He retired as well. I love that guy. He's the crew chief. I'm in training, and he goes, "All right, we're gonna step out." And I'll hold on to your harness, because you can only have one. We only had one. We could only hook one person on, right?
Okay.
And we had the gunners. We had the gunners belts. We didn't even have harnesses. We had gunners.
That's awesome.
He goes, I'll be hooked on with the strap inside the helicopter, not even the hoist.
Yeah.
And I'll hold on to your gunner's belt, and you step out and hand them the radio. I'm like, okay. Like no thought process involved in this whole thing, because I don't know any better. And we did it, and we handed him the radio. And then he's talking to us, and then we said, all right, we're gonna come back and get the radio. But this time we had a plan to grab the guy.
Okay.
And by the time we landed to grab him, he decided to rappel down. So, we missed our opportunity the first time to grab him, but he rappelled down. But we had to go back and get the radio. So that was the first. You want to talk about rescue-ish style rescue?
That's pretty good.
It was
That's pretty good.
It was fun, and it was probably the one and only time I actually did a job as a crew chief-ish crew, because I wasn't qualified in the back. The rest of the times I was up front. So
that's pretty funny.
Time. That was the very first, and it probably was like the first, 2 months I was in the unit too as well. I mean, I was still like, woohoo, this is fun,
I love how you guys towed in to give a radio, and then they're just like, "Oh, thanks, man. Hey, what's up?" All right, I'll be right down. Hold on.
I have pictures somewhere of the guy as well, so it's a classic.
Hilarious.
He's just, I have nothing here, but they're all home, in storage somewhere. But those are great pictures.
And he was the Burger King.
The Burger King. He's a king of the world, king of the burger world. It was funny.
Oh my God! Oh, that's awesome. That's good.
You can't make it up.
Oh, you can't. You can't make this stuff up.
You can't make it up.
It's unreal. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of. We've had a lot of more crazy.
Yeah.
You see on a regular basis than normal. That I don't know if that makes.
It makes sense to me. It actually probably makes sense to the majority of us that fly and do this job. We're like, yep, I get it. Crazy.
We see a lot of crazy. Things that don't make sense or make us laugh in our community.
Yes.
Versus when we tell it to other people, they're like, "That's sick."
Yeah.
I'm like,
what is wrong with you?
What's wrong?
Nothing. Nothing is wrong with us.
Yeah. Well, there's another one that was similar to that. The Whitestone Bridge. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay, so we have lots of bridges in New York.
Yep.
Like over 20, maybe even more. Excuse me. And
so just so you know, I'm gonna edit all this little, like if you cough or take a sip, I'll just cut that out.
Okay. So the Whitestone, we get a call. There's a jumper.
Okay.
Once again, is it really a jumper? A jumper means somebody jumping that wants to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Jump off the bridge.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. So every asset is rolled out to the
bridge closes down.
You got
boats underneath.
You got emergency service, which is our SWAT team.
Right.
Boats, aviation. Excuse me. So we get there. We're circling. Sure enough, there's a guy up on the. He walked up the. I don't even know what do you call it.
Like
the big cables.
Yeah, the suspension cables.
Suspension cables.
Okay.
So he's walking. He's up there. I mean, he's 300 feet in the air,
Wow.
And got no shirt on. I don't even think he has shoes. Yeah, it's hard to tell, because you can't get so close to him with the helicopter.
Right.
But anyway.
As you're looking around. No, but there's things you see from the air, even at 300 feet, and you're like, if he's 300 feet from the water, plus you're another 300 feet up, so, well, let's call it 200. You're probably circling about 500 feet.
Yeah.
Right? You can see some stuff.
Yeah, so we see our emergency service workers, officers climbing up the bridge.
Yep.
And we're guiding, he's there. We have other ones coming up from the other side so they can, box him in.
Yeah.
He decides he's going to swing off the cable. And you watch him, and he does like a Tarzan swing. And he's just...
did he have his own rope up there?
Nothing. He's doing this all by hand. And he's, doing the whole Tarzan and swinging from cable to cable. And we're watching him. And we're like, okay, we're going to pick him up out of the water in moments. He's going in. And we watched him. And he actually did this whole thing. And he went right past the emergency guys. And he just kept going, and he went all the way down.
Like Jungle Jim swinging on.
Yeah, he went to the bottom of the cable, so they're on the top of the cable.
Yeah.
And he's...
like hand over hand, monkey bar.
And swinging, and jumping, and letting go, and grabbing. And it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But we were all hoping that he would go in the water so we could do the rescue.
You know what? That's so funny. It's like, come on! Yeah! Oh! You know what? There might be something wrong with this. It's official.
but anyway, we got to deploy all our fancy equipment and rescue gear, and emergency services got to climb the bridge and get a good workout in. And we burnt a lot of jet fuel. So all to watch the amazing circus act.
Oh my God.
And is there something wrong with the guy? No, but they're going to probably lock it. They probably did lock him up for it. So anyway, it's funny stuff. There are a lot of stories in New York.
Yeah, I have, and we're just getting a little piece of it right now. This is kind of good.
I know you guys are anxious for rescue work.
Well, I just like the stories. So I mean. Although you did mention, like, kind of offline, this is kind of one of the reasons you and I got here, is you had mentioned a couple jet skiers that you were assistant to pull out.
Well, that was in the Hudson River. One of many times we've rescued jet skiers, but this one was actually caught on by the news camera while we were doing the rescue, so it actually happened. It actually happened.
This one was really real.
This is it's only real, it's only true if it's documented.
That's right.
So that one we just the everyday call we get, 100 a day of person in distress and boater in distress, person in distress. In the water, Hudson River, and we got on the scene, and sure enough, we could see the jet ski. It's pinned against the pilings.
Okay.
And our divers and the crew chief spot people in the water. I think there were two jet skiers in the water, and apparently what happened was they were jet skiing, they fell off, but the current is so strong in the Hudson River at certain times of the day.
Yeah.
The incoming tide and the out tide could be up to 8 knots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
you're not swimming against that.
No, you can't swim against.
Let me say that you're not swimming against that for any length of time.
You can swim. Yeah, you can swim against it, but you're not going anywhere.
Right.
You're actually going backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're really, a rescue guy like you.
Come on, baby. Come on.
But somebody like you could do at least 9 knots.
Yeah.
So
you're so full of it. I love it.
But you could see the tide. You could see it was an incoming tide. Yep. So it was moving 6 to 8 knots. It was moving quite rapidly, and you could see it, how fast it was moving. And they were pinned pretty good against the pilings. And so the divers said, "Hey, drop us, up."
We'll call it upriver.
Upriver,
Yeah, up current.
Up current, and let the current take it, because obviously they couldn't swim against it, right?
Yeah.
And so I dropped them, I want to say maybe 50, 75 meters from the pilings, and they were on them in a minute. Not even.
Yeah.
And our rescue, our crew on the 412 on a rescue aircraft, there's the two pilots, crew chief, hoist operator, crew chief / hoist operator. We only have one, and 2 scuba divers from our scuba team. So
they're
they can
fully
either
kitted out scuba gear.
Yeah,
tanks, regulators, BCDs, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and then they choose what equipment they want to use.
Got it.
Sometimes they'll go in just for a surface swim, which in this case it was a surface rescue. No need for tanks.
Okay.
So they didn't. I don't believe they went in with the tanks. I'd have to look at the video, but I'm going to say they went in just surface because they had to make a swim, so they probably didn't want to use their tanks. They went in. They wear the full dry suit, and they wear their mask. When they do surface, they'll just wear a scuba mask and a snorkel. But when they do with the tank, if they're going to do underwater rescues, they wear the auger, the full face mask.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, with comms and everything. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it sounds like they're speaking into a tin can when I talk to them, but it's like wah wah wah. So we tend to use hand signals more.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, but that's actually pretty cool. I didn't realize you guys did that. That's to even have communications where they can just listen to you guys. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's so mind you, from the time I started in the unit to that rescue. And obviously today it's even more advanced. The equipment has gotten better and better and better, and more advanced, and
very much so.
And it helps, as we say in the aviation world, situational awareness. In the rescue world, I'm sure you have a terminology for it, where we just it makes our environment, it makes what we do easier.
Oh, it's a game changer. When you start adding some of the equipment that's out there now. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's awesome.
So getting back to the
rest of that. Yeah. So you dropped them.
So we drop them, and we'll get down low enough in the water so they're not making they're doing maybe a 5-meter jump.
That's not too bad. Nice.
15 feet.
Yeah.
Depends on if you like the dive or not. Sometimes up to a 30-meter. No, it's all
30 meter or 30 feet. That's good.
Depends on if you like the guy. We had very good, close relationships with our scuba guys, and so you know who liked what, and some of them you had to put the skid in the water. To deploy them. They didn't like jumping. Yeah. And it's with the full tank and the equipment, you kind of got them real low. Yeah. Because just that little movement of the tank could hurt them.
Because they are free falling or helo casting off the side of the 412, so they're stepping on the skid, fully kitted out, scuba tank, all that weight, and now they're jumping, boop, and drop or. Really just stepping off and dropping into the water. Yeah, so when you hit wrong, you're going to be hurting.
Yeah, we've had quite a few get hurt.
Yeah,
we're not looking to hurt people.
No,
we're looking, and we'll continue after the story. But as a rescuers, you don't want to be causing more problems to hurt people and become the victims.
Right.
That's a whole nother, that defeats the purpose of us responding.
Exactly.
If we're going to respond and we get into an accident.
Yeah.
Now I have 5, I'm in charge of 5 lives, and $20 million worth of equipment. It's you have to make that decision. Is it?
Right.
Is it? Where's the benefit?
Right.
You know, is it worth responding? And I have another story to go with that. But on this one, so we deployed the divers, backed up at the time, I'm not sure if this is how, I'm retired quite a while now from that, but we used to deploy and then up and to the left until we got the thumbs up, and then we'd go back to the orbit.
Okay.
I don't know if that's how you guys did it in the coasties, but
Because
you guys are experts.
Yeah, yes, but you guys are flying a different aircraft than we are. You know, a 60, the
Right.
Blackhawk can or the Jayhawk can just sit into a hover. So
The hover wasn't the problem. Was we deploy them and then come back and to the left so we could see what was going on until we got the thumbs up.
Yes.
So normally we didn't stay in the hover because of the noise and the downwash. Yeah. So we didn't want to. We let them operate, and then we'd come back and they'd call for the equipment, give our crew chief time to assess and pick out the right equipment. Yeah. You know, sometimes they wanted. We called it a diaper, just the seat.
Yep.
You know, sometimes they wanted the penetrator. Sometimes they wanted the basket. So it depends what tool that they wanted when they got on scene. They would give the hand signals because, like I said, you couldn't understand them on the radio. And,
God bless the hand signal.
I think those radios really were for underwater. They could speak to each other better underwater.
Oh, nice. And, okay.
I guess the water, transmitted the sound better than the air.
Whatever.
It still sounded like Charlie Brown speaking. So, technology.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they called for the basket. We pulled up the victims. They weren't in bad shape at all. They were just cold and wet.
Yeah,
expected. And put them in the basket, and then went back. We dropped them on the beach, the shoreline beach. There's really no beach. It's a river.
Yeah. It's all right.
Rocks.
Yeah.
And to the waiting emergency service units, they made a little landing zone for us. We dropped them, went back and picked up the divers. So it was a 4-hoist evolution.
Yeah, nice.
And it was all caught on by the news cameras.
Man,
the news,
that's awesome.
Things, which then now we're heroes, right? So they have
of course.
They have to have an interview.
Yeah.
And so they do this whole interview, and since I was the pilot in command, I have to do the interview. And you know how shy most of us are. We don't like speaking to the news at all. It's not something that the police, we don't like it because they like to make up their own
narrative.
Yeah. So we kind of avoid it, and we're only allowed to do it if the police department allows us to do it.
Yep.
So of course, great press, and so we do it, and I go on and do the whole speech, just basically what I told you, but instead of saying pilings, I said pylons. But when you're speaking and you're a little nervous, you get this camera stuffed up in your face, and so I said pylons, and when the interview, when it aired the next day when I come to work, there's police officers can be they like a good joke. They like to the orange cones, the pylons.
Yeah.
Were all over the place, on my locker, in front of my locker, all the way from the parking lot to my locker. There had to be like 300 of them. I'm like, and at first I didn't get it. I'm like, what is this? I thought they were just messing with me. I mean, they were messing with me, but I didn't get it. And then they're like, pylons, and I said pylon. I said pilings. And they played the video back for me, and pylons, and I'm like, gotcha. So what we do with each other is what is just a normal operation for us becomes a big rescue, and we did save lives, so that's it's us. But when you're doing it every day, it's just normal. It's not it's like, yeah, okay, give me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You know,
Yeah.
What's next? No, nothing. It's
Yeah.
not.
It's
not
what we do.
It's what we do. It's what we train to do.
Yeah.
We train. We do our thing, and
Yeah.
we move on. You know, but when it gets up into the news, now you're a hero. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where were you yesterday or last week when this happened or that happened?
I'm like, so what's good about our brotherhood and sisterhood is that we keep each other grounded.
Yeah.
And by making fun of each other like that doesn't let your ego swell.
Right.
And it's a huge thing in our industry, and what we do is, if you allow your ego to be ahead of what we do, in charge of what we do, people get hurt.
Oh yeah.
And you got to stay grounded.
Yeah.
Focus on the training. We trained all the time. When you became a pilot in command, you hit all the of the SAR aircraft. You hit all the requirements. Trained them, did them.
You worked hard to get to that point.
You work hard to get to that point, and you do your check ride with our company check airman, which at the time Matt Rowley, who passed away, rest in peace, Matt. He would put you through the paces. You had to do everything.
Yeah.
And you did it. While you're doing the training, you do it over, months.
Yeah.
For the check ride, you do it in one day.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. It
is a lot.
So all of us in the aviation industry know we train, and then our check rides are ridiculous.
Right. Because you're hit on multitudes of things that. Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get. And for us, it was a scenario based, and
scenario-based,
here you go. Yeah. Here's what you got. You're mapping weather plans. You have to do the job, even though it's a scenario. It's a quote unquote real life scenario.
So let's take that one step further.
Sure.
I did my pilot in command check ride on November 12th, 2001.
The fact that you remember that so vividly.
Why don't you put that date in and tell me what happened on November 12th, 2001, and we'll cut
Ready?
to it.
November 12th, 2001. I know what happened that day. And actually, that was the following day when the airlines decided to run into the World Trade Center. 9/11.
No, 9/11. That's a month later.
A month later.
So
sorry,
no, that was a month earlier.
Oh, a month earlier. All right, we'll cut that part out then, and we'll say, here we go. Ready? American Airlines flight 587 crashes in Queens, New York. Oh, dang.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Is it?
That. So we were doing I don't know what. I honestly can't even remember what we were doing for that PIC check ride at Floyd Bennett Field, and so Floyd Bennett Field is just about 7 miles to the west of Kennedy Airport. JFK.
Okay. Yeah.
And Kennedy goes, PD 14. That was the call sign for us. You have a whatever type of aircraft that was, heavy. It's an A380, A320 or something like that.
It's a
A340. Something like that.
So it's an Airbus A300 B4.
A300, yeah.
Yeah.
They say you get an Airbus heavy, the just departed runway. I can't even remember.
Whatever. From Queens, they were leaving out of Queens.
And it's turning outbound towards the bridge, towards us. And he goes, "Let me know when you have him in sight." And
is that Sully?
No.
Okay. Sorry, I'll cut that out.
So I'm turning northbound, and he's turning southbound, and I see him. I go, PD-14, Airbus Heavy Insight, American Heavy, whatever they.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember what the call sign was.
Sure.
And he said, PD-14 Insight, the Airbus. Yeah.
Okay.
And the next thing I hear, my fire truck, the guy in the fire truck, we have a fire truck standing by while we're doing emergency procedure training.
Okay.
Practice on the runway.
Mind you, this is your check ride.
This is my check ride.
So you're on your check ride night.
I'm on my check ride.
And this gets called in. Okay.
And so I just spoke to the plane.
Yeah.
We just passed each other.
Okay.
I mean, not we.
I know
A couple of miles apart, but we're in the same airspace.
Yeah. You
proximity.
have visual of each other.
We have visual. I just made my northbound turn. He's making that southbound turn. I hear, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, and it's this guy Tim Hayes, great dude, and he saw the plane strike the tower. He was on the SAR aircraft after the first one hit. He was up there, and the second one almost hit him. Yeah, so he sees that. He sees now this plane breaking apart and bowling into the Rockaway. We turn immediately to the south, and we see the rest of it happen.
Holy
And so we end up being the first aircraft on the scene. We have nobody on board, just me and Matt Rowley. We were on our check ride.
Yeah.
We don't. We.
Well, you had a crew chief.
I think we had dropped the crew chief off because we were just doing emergency procedures right at that
Okay,
point.
so you go minimal crew.
Yeah,
for
emergency procedures. We
Yeah.
we were doing.
For everybody else out there, it'd be like doing autos, and you're doing all your flight safety, emergency stuff, and we always go minimal crew.
Minimal crew. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so-
I believe we didn't have a crew chief.
Okay.
At this moment, so we were like, holy, and so now I wasn't a PIC yet. I was doing my PIC checkout, and we fly over there, and we call, we make the radio calls. The SAR aircraft now, because when we weren't the SAR aircraft,
Okay.
we were doing training. They respond. Obviously, there's nobody to pick up.
Yeah.
Although the people on the ground, they did some medevacs for people that got hurt on the ground. And so this was my almost day one of being a SAR PIC.
Holy smoke.
Yeah, so I had to, and once again, to keep us grounded, we all get back, after 20 hours of being interviewed by the FBI and everybody, because what did you see?
NTSB gets involved, FAA gets involved.
But because we were there and we were the last witnesses of the aircraft.
Right.
What did we see? And I turned to Matt. I go, "Did I pass?" And he looks at me. He goes, "No." I'm like, "What do you mean no?" He goes, "Oh, we got more stuff to do." I'm like, "Oh." So it was funny,
Dang, man.
We had to continue. I didn't finish my PIC ride until 2 days later, but it was funny, I figured I'd get away with not having to do the rest of it. But that was I remember.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. So I can't remember what I wanted to say about that the other training stuff, but go ahead.
Dude, this is awesome.
Lead on.
This is awesome.
I mean, rescues. So we have this place called Promotion Point.
Okay.
And it was Breezy Point, the jetty that goes all the way out in Breezy Point, or off of the barrier. What are they called? What do you call the break? they built that whole break along the whole
Oh,
East
you're
Coast.
talking like a wave break or the jetty.
Yeah, the
jetty that comes out and breaks up the waves.
So they had this jetty, and they had a big tower on the jetty with a light, obviously, because there's rocks. And people love to go fishing out there at low tide. So they walk out. Of course, high tide comes in unexpectedly fast.
Yeah, when you're not paying attention, you don't know how to read tides. Yes.
And they normally between 2 and 5 a season, so it didn't happen every year, all year, but during certain times of the year, people would get stranded out there. Yeah. And we'd have to go rescue them. And it's, when I tell you it's more funny because they climb up into the tower and they're 20 feet above the water, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're down in the break.
Oh wow! Okay.
And we call it promotion point. It's very dangerous, as you know, being a rescuer that has to go in the water.
Yep.
The rocks, the hydraulic power of the water,
right,
and rocks, they can crush you.
And you can do one of two things as a rescue. You could stay connected to the hook to do more of a direct deployment type method, or disconnect based on how high the tides are, how big the break is.
And we've had all different types.
Yeah.
And once again, sometimes it's caught on video. And the guys, we all made the rescues there.
Yeah.
And the ones that were caught on video got promoted.
Hey!
Promotion point.
Promotion point.
And
before you go out, hey, news crew, we're getting called out to promotion point.
I obviously didn't get promoted from that, but there's a few other guys that did, and it's always just like a sore. I did that same rescue and I didn't get promoted.
You didn't get it on video, so it didn't really happen.
It didn't happen. So that's another good place, and yes, there's some really great tools to use, like you pointed out, for doing the different types of saw work.
Yeah.
The penetrator, we use the penetrator quite a bit, more than probably anybody else.
Wow.
The penetrator was a favorite tool by our rescuers, by our divers. They really liked it because the penetrator, which one?
Oh, yeah.
There's a penetrator, there's a jungle penetrator. We're not talking about the same one. We're
No,
talking about it's like a T-bar.
Yeah, it's made by LSC. The T-bar comes up, the bottom seat portion folds up, so you have like a T, and then
there's a hook, so you can hook your carabiners onto and everything.
And you sit down.
It's a great tool.
Yeah,
but it's probably better than we didn't always like to put the basket in the water because it's very difficult to get people into the basket.
If you don't know what you're doing.
But
come on, New York.
Come on, yeah, we're the police. We don't know what we're doing.
No, you know what? I'll back you up on that. If you're not training to that all the time, to that specific piece of equipment, then you've got 10 pieces of gear.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the one that you're most comfortable with. And if you're most comfortable with that, then that's the one you're going to use.
But the basket, if somebody's severely injured, obviously we're not putting them in a basket, we're putting them in a litter. Right? So the Stokes is probably
it's one of the hardest pieces of gears, especially in the water. To put somebody in the Stokes basket, it takes effort, time, and you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, and we use the same equipment because almost everything we did was based off the Coast Guard because we trained with the Coast Guard all the time.
Yeah.
We went down to Jacksonville. Some of us, not all of us, to fly with Hitron. That has nothing to do with rescuing, by the way.
No, but that's pretty awesome.
We did a lot of shooting. If you want to talk about fun, shooting out of a helicopter, 50 cal out of the back of a helicopter is pretty cool.
This is not this podcast, but it could be very soon.
But we trained with the Coast Guard regularly. We hoisted off the back of their boats. We did training, I guess, you have to tell me, because it's been so long. But the Coast Guard, obviously the helicopters their air crew has to train a certain amount of hoisting and stuff. But the boats have to do it as well.
As far as I know, yes. I'm not too savvy on that side of it, but they do like to get their boat qualification or heliops, helicopter operations.
Because the Coast Guard left Coast Guard Air Station Brooklyn
yeah.
and
they went down to Atlantic City.
Coast
Jersey.
Guard Activities New York was in Atlantic City. So they would call us up and say, we'd always do joint training with the Coast Guard.
Cool.
And it was a good opportunity for us, and it was a good opportunity to keep them qualified.
Yeah.
And I always loved that. I loved when Coast Guard Activities called, because we had like, good relationship with them.
So now all of a sudden you're doing...
So we were their asset. When they left New York, they considered us as an asset to part of their air asset.
Nice.
Because they had one in Atlantic City and the one in Cape Cod.
Right.
And we were the one in between. So who would they call? Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call?
Convenient enough, same place, based out of New York.
so I love it. You guys, especially coming from the military and then not being in the military and then being in the police, where it's so not the military.
Right.
And we answer the phone. You have to answer, which drives me insane. Working where I work now, nobody answers the phone.
Yeah.
And
they just say hi, hello,
hi. They don't even tell you where they.
Helicopters.
Yeah. So
really?
When you call ours, you had to answer it by 3 rings.
Yeah.
And you had to give you where you are and who you are.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, we'd get integrity tests. We'd have people that actually had a job to call to see if you were doing it. I wanted that job, but they didn't give it to me. And I could do that. So you'd answer the phone, and if you reach the aviation unit, Detective Hoffman, how can I help you?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah.
And you'd get on the other end, hi, hello, Detective Hoffman. This is Ensign, whatever, from Coast Guard Activities New York. Oh, Ensign. Now my whole persona changed, because now,
sir,
no, or I get the petty officer. This is petty officer so and so. Coast Guard Activities New York. Do you have an air asset available? Of course we do.
Well,
we're not the Coast Guard, I would say. And they're like,
what are you saying? We have assets available. They're just busy.
Like, where's yours? And I'm like, and then, I would ask, do you have a credit card? And then they're like, what? And then the OOD would get on and start talking to me, and like, what do you have? We have a this one in the middle of the night. Now I'm the pilot in command now of SAR, but I'm with my instructor.
Nice.
The instructors in the police, everywhere, your instructor, your mentor is your mentor for life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not going to mention his name, but he was a great guy. He's very shy, so I won't mention his name. But
no worries.
The guy taught me so much. He taught me how to be a captain, how to be the pilot in command. And so now I'm flying with him, and we get this call, and it's Coast Guard Activities. We have a 700-foot ocean-going tug that needs a medevac. Like, cool.
All right.
Cool. Well, where is it? And they give us the Latin Long. It's out by. It was like 30 miles offshore from either land, from San Diego, not San Diego, because that'd be really far from New York. From Sandy Hook, New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
So 30 miles from that way and 30 miles from Floyd Bennett Field. So it's only 30 miles offshore, but it was completely, because you could go 30 miles off of Floyd Bennett Field and be 5 miles offshore in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Because of the way the angle is. But so this was
you're
literally 30
miles offshore.
Yeah, this is 30 miles. And we didn't normally go
that far
offshore because it just wasn't our area of operation.
Right.
New York City is our area.
So, and actually, that's a good point, because now once you respond to that and you take off to that, you now are out of your area of responsibility. Yeah. So if something comes up in your area of responsibility, you can't respond because you're well outside That, you know, so
And,
anyway.
and that wasn't always our concern, but yes,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we taken the asset away from our area, but
Right.
but a call is a call, so we're not going to say no, we can't
Yeah.
do it. Of course we could do it.
Yeah.
Plus, I wanted to see what.
We're NYPD. Of course we can do it.
Plus, I wanted to see what a 700-foot ocean-going tug is. How awesome is that? 700 feet.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's not 700 feet.
No.
No. You know what I'm talking about?
Not an ocean tug. Go ahead. Yes. Yeah, because we've had this discussion.
Yeah, we had
We're
this
very excited
discussion.
for you
So
to say this.
I'm excited. I'm Jones on this. I'm like, man, you know, we'll be able to land on this thing. You don't have to hoist. You don't have to do anything. We can 700 feet. I can find a place to put this sucker down. You know, there's no way 700 feet. So we get out there, and it's a big tug, but it's not 700 feet. It's plugged into the back of a barge.
Yeah.
Pushing
So the
these-
barge.
Barge is 600. What 550, and this
Yeah.
tug is 150 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, the tug is still big, but it wasn't big. It was tall as well.
Yeah.
So the
Because they're going to be able to see to the end of the barge that
end
they're
of the
pushing or
barge,
pulling. Yeah.
it was the most amazing.
Is it the one with the V? Like they have the
V.
cutout?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the boat, the nose of the vessel, the bow
barge, yeah.
of the vessel goes into that nose cutout of the barge, and that's how they're plugging
Yeah, yeah.
along.
It just was amazing. So we were trying to figure out where we can. Now we have to do this hoist, and because the wheelhouse.
Yep.
I'm trying to use proper marine terminology for you squids, real squids. I was an Airedale in the Navy. I was in aviation. I wasn't a.
Where's the steering wheel? It's where the steering wheel's at.
It's in the quartermaster. The quartermaster is it's in.
We're Airedales. Come on, man.
yeah.
It's the nose of the boat and the
Nose of
tail
the
of the boat.
So
Shoot.
So with it being so high, and then all the big whip antennas, everything that it had to be a good 150, 200 foot hoist
Jeez.
at night. Obviously moving, which is always good for us anyway, right?
Yep.
The seas weren't that bad. It was, I mean, not for us. We just held altitude and slight forward movement, just to do the hoist. But we got the tagline down, which I think we got that from the Coasties.
Nice.
The whole tagline,
Nice.
band, and it was really cool. Not as fancy as what you have today. What I saw, that tagline is really nice. But ours was just a little wrapped up in rubber bands.
A little polypro.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, Coast Guard still uses that one today.
And so we got it down to the ship's crew members, and then they held on to it while we lowered we hoisted our paramedic down.
Oh, nice.
Emergency
Nice.
service. We didn't put our, because it wasn't a water rescue at this
Right.
point. It was just a hoist, but it was a hoist at night off this 700 foot ocean going underway, 30 miles offshore.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. It's things that we don't do. And mind you, we did this unaided. We didn't have NVGs.
Right. So hopefully your tugboat was at least lit up enough.
Oh, it was
for
lit
you.
up. It was like a city. I mean, it was
nice.
amazing.
Okay.
But still, when you're so high, we're high up to stay away from the antennas.
Yeah.
And it still seemed pretty close to them.
Yeah.
Because the hoist only has a 300 foot. I think 300 foot of cable.
Depends on the hoist, but I mean,
Yeah, we
290 usable feet would be, again, depending on the weather.
Right,
whether
something
it's-
like that. It wasn't. We didn't have much.
Yeah.
We couldn't go much higher.
Yeah.
So, and you're out. It's pitch black. There's no horizon. There's no visible. So, and we were unaided. So, the lights from the boat were coming from below. So really making everything else out in the horizon pitch black.
Yeah.
And that was fun, And so we hoist them up, and the whole time I'm thinking to myself, my mentor's sitting here. I better do this right. I got to do this right.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's watching me. He's watching. This is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he
could care less.
He could care less.
He's going through his just
he's
normal checks.
His normal,
I got you back. You're doing a great job over there, Glenn.
Yeah. Of course, we do a debrief at the end, and so how'd I do? He goes, well, you did great. It was good.
Yeah. I've seen better.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you the things that, no,
that's awesome.
He goes, you're a little close to that antenna. Yeah. I'm like, well, what? You didn't tell me? I thought you saw it.
You know what? That's a good instructor. You know why? Because now he's part of the crew.
Yeah.
He's not there to instruct. Yeah. He's there to be part of the crew. And that's awesome. Yeah. Like, eventually you have to have that, that camaraderie between each other where you can get back into, okay, now we're a crew. Yeah. I'm not there to instruct. I'm there as a crew member.
Yeah. So. He was one of the best. When you struggled with things, he was able to really teach, get through to you, and that's what my goal as an instructor was always. You have to find the way to teach to your student.
Yeah,
that's what makes you a good instructor.
Yes,
knowledge. We can all learn something.
Right.
If I don't know something, I look it up, and then I learn it, and then I can teach it. Teaching is not it. Learning it is not the hard part. It's to be able to transfer the knowledge to somebody else, which is the hard part.
Right. And you actually make a really good point there. One of my senior chiefs that I was in Kodiak with, Olaf Lavelle, I'm throwing his name right there because he gave me some great piece of advice. He said, you don't have to know everything. Mm-hmm. You have to know where to find everything. I was like, oh, that's good. You need a math formula for something. I don't need to memorize the math formula. I just need to know where to find it to look it up so I can get the answer. For you guys, same thing. Like as an instructor, I'm there with you. Like I forget a lot of stuff. Right. Okay, where do you look it up? How do you find it to get the right answer?
I agree, and especially with all this new equipment.
Yeah.
And I mean the FLIR alone. To learn how to use a FLIR, I hate to use the word FLIR because that's just it's like saying jacuzzi. It's the thermal imaging systems because they're all different. They're all different but the same. But you have to learn how to use your equipment.
Right.
And they're so technical today compared to the first one we had.
Yeah. Was
just you moved a little pipper around and it moved.
Right. Now it's got tracking.
Yeah.
Zoom in, zoom out.
And you can adjust the gains to it's
awesome.
Awesome piece of equipment. It really changed the world of SAR and law enforcement. I made many of captures and doing police work doing that.
Yeah.
But with just be able to scan the ocean. It's a tool,
right?
We can't depend on one tool,
right?
Excuse me. You can't depend on just one, but it is a great tool to have.
Totally.
I know you guys are on NVGs, goggles now. We didn't have them.
No, I love flying with goggles.
I spent my whole career unaided, and then the last year, they came out with the goggles and said, "Oh, you want to try these?" And we didn't really have a program back then. Now they have a full-blown program with NYPD. But we didn't have one at all when I was there. We had the goggles, and we had a few guys that had, military guys that had goggle experience. We were trying to get them to get their we're trying to build a program at the time and get the goggle, the NVGI, the instructor ratings.
Oh, yep.
So I think eventually two of them, Double D, Dennis.
Yeah. Dennis, I love Dennis.
You should get him. He's he's
down in Florida.
He's now chief pilot.
Is he really?
Yeah. I just heard. Yeah. So
okay.
Something like that.
I'll give him a hard time.
Actually, I don't even know if he is.
Whatever.
I take that back.
You know what? We're gonna give it to him and then take it away.
Yeah. I don't know.
Come on,
Chief
Dennis.
And, he was the chief pilot of the NYPD.
Yeah.
So
good guy.
Great guy.
Yeah.
I got tons of stories about him. He's a great dude. I love him to death. Anyway, he obviously Marine was a goggle guy, and he's the one that got us the NVGs, and then we had Eddie Schultz, retired Army W4 from National Guard, Army Guard.
Okay.
Great guy. Once again, NVG guy. They're big
Yeah.
into NVG. So we had two really strong NVG instructors, but we didn't have the program up and running yet. So
Yeah.
any of the training I had wasn't documented. Any of the stuff. So really, I didn't get to use them for work. We used them at the beginning
Yeah.
just to
Get started and
you know, like
Yeah.
we're trying them out. We probably completely illegal, you know, flying them. None of our aircraft were NVG compatible.
oh yeah, yeah.
You know, nothing at the time. You know, today, today's fleet, the NYPD, they have amazing aircraft, 429s. Still have 412s, but they're all NVG spec'd out. They have the latest and greatest of everything.
That's awesome.
It's yeah, I mean, I don't even know what the equipment they're using today because I'm so far out of the game. But they, you know, they have the tools. So we went from completely unaided to a fully flying fully aided at night, which changes the game.
Oh yeah.
You know,
It's amazing when you throw on a pair of night vision goggles and all of a sudden you can see the full horizon, all the structures and everything around it, and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is it's a total game changer.
Yeah, well, you know,
So-
I like I said, when I first got to the unit, it was all old timers, and the NVGs that were in play in the 80s and the 90s were
Much
old,
different.
much different.
Yeah.
And the few that knew about NVGs said, no, you don't want to. We don't need them here. You can't fly around the city with them. So we never pursued that
Right.
in the police department because of our experts at the time
Yeah.
had very limited experience on technology. And circling back to the Hitron, after 9/11, for December 20th, 2001, we got the Hitron squadron based at Floyd Bennett Field with us.
Okay. So they came out just to be there. Roger that.
Roger that. And, you know, I still am in contact and maintain friendships with those guys. They
Yeah.
lived with us. You know, they were deployed on a deployment to
In New York.
City,
Yeah.
December 20th. I mean, so they deployed typical military style.
Yeah.
Deploy your asset right before the holiday.
Yeah.
You know, like days before the holiday.
Yeah.
And so we made the best of it for them.
Nice.
And they lived us. And so now they came up at the time. They were flying the Augusta 109s.
Okay. Yeah.
What they started the Hitron squadron with.
Yeah. They're flying 865s now, I believe.
Yeah, I think they just switched back to the whole. They made one, you know, for you know single. It's more logistically
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. It's easier to
Yeah.
take one aircraft and move it around the entire
But
fleet. Versus,
I think at the time when they were building the Hitron.
Yeah.
I know this doesn't have anything to do with
it's all
with
good.
SAR, but when they were building the Hitron, they were doing it. They did it that way, so Coast Guard Command, Central Command, whatever they call it, the head shed, couldn't deploy them to do SAR cases.
Oh.
They weren't SAR quality. They weren't SAR equipped aircraft.
Right. They were not.
They were
Hitron
not.
was not
They were.
at the time.
They got rid
Yeah.
of all the SAR equipment. I don't.
Yeah.
Even, I don't even think they had a hoist on them.
I don't
And
know.
if they did,
Yeah.
I honestly I don't think they had a hoist
I don't know from experience, so I'm not
because
going
they
to
had
speak on that. But
they had the gun mounts for
Yeah.
the two guns that they carried,
they were there
and
for
I'm,
law enforcement. That was their big thing.
and that's why they used the 109, and they had a whatever X amount a year contract lease with Augusta.
Yeah.
And so when they came up, they just the reason I'm talking about is this is how we got into the NVG world.
Yeah.
They had the latest and greatest, because the Coast Guard always had the latest and greatest NVGs,
Yeah.
equipment, because
Right.
they had it better than the Navy, because they didn't go far offshore. And I had to throw that in. And so
I love the digs, man.
So
Whatever, New York.
So they had the what we call generic, right? The Anvis 9s.
Yeah.
The latest and greatest Gen 3 and they had the HUD in theirs, so you can plug in. They could see all their instrumentation through their goggles.
Yeah.
And,
So you never actually had to look down at your
Never had
instruments.
to
It's
look down.
all right there in the front. Basically, a front heads-up display is
Right.
basically what they're looking at.
so
Badass.
so they let us check it out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to throw them on the bus and say they gave us any flights and fan flights, but we put the helmet on, and we got to see how good they are around the city.
Yeah.
And when Dennis fought for us to get them, it was a big battle, because the police department said, no, we don't want to spend $16,000+
Right.
per set.
goggle.
Per
Yeah.
goggle.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what they are. I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. I don't know how much they are now, but let's go round numbers and say, $10,000 US gives you a set of goggles and a battery pack.
Right.
That doesn't include the helmet mount or the helmet or all that
so
stuff.
We already had helmets. We had to change helmets when we got goggles, because the
course.
helmets we had were terrible.
Yeah, and they might not have the mount in the
No,
front.
we had the mount,
Oh, you
but
did?
they
Okay.
were mounted in the wrong spot for the goggles that we had. for
Oh,
the mount.
nice.
So
Yeah. Okay.
there was a lot of
Issues.
So we ended up changing to the Galay, the helmet that I think you guys have now.
Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, 20 years ago, so
Yeah,
it's a different helmet today, but 14 years ago, 15 years ago. So he fought, and the police department didn't want to give it to us, and we ended up getting it through. We were out at a some convention, not convention, some dinner party, and he could talk, and he met somebody who's in charge of the Widows and Orphans Fund,
Okay.
and they wanted to make a donation
Nice.
to us, and I think it was the Widows and Orphans Fund. It was one of them. Police Foundation. I take that back. It was a police foundation,
Okay.
and they made the donation. And he says, they go, "What do you need? What kind of equipment do you need?" And we need night vision goggles. Well, how many do you need? Well, we need at least 16 pair. So they bought a 16.
Oh my God,
16
that's
sets of
awesome.
goggles. And then they didn't let us use them for 2 years. So it was one of those.
Yeah.
It was a long process, and now I'm so glad that they get to use them.
Yeah.
I was just on the cusp. I got to play with them. I didn't get to use them,
Yeah.
and it's a great tool.
It's an amazing tool.
Amazing tool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tools that we use that, like you said, we talked about baskets, penetrators, the
Right.
diaper. Did you use Billy Pugh net?
We did. I personally have not, and actually, I've never even used that in the water. I know of it because the Navy has used it.
Yeah. Well,
You
we
know?
had one.
Yeah.
I watched it swinging in the hangar.
Yeah. It's
We never used it for a rescue.
no. There's what. So it sinks on the bottom, and then you have a big orange float. That so when the basket or
It's
when
just
the
big ropes, like basically.
yeah, it's all it is. And
Yeah.
then it sits in the water, and then everybody kind of climbs on
Yeah.
to
So
the
it's a
float portion. Yeah.
multiple people can climb in.
Right.
You really need a strong aircraft to
Yeah,
lift it up, because it gets sogged out.
And like you can't use it. Well, I'm not going to say you can't use it, but if you put it on the hoist, you're very limited because the hoist is only
So
rated for
600
600 pounds.
Yeah. We didn't.
What is
I
that?
don't-
243
I don't think
kilos.
it was a hoist.
No, I think it's
It's
a
a
belly band,
belly-
or you're using a cargo net.
it's a cargo hooked one.
Yeah. Sorry, cargo hook, right?
Yeah, I think that's how it's attached to cargo
Yeah.
hook. We never ever used it. I just was curious if anybody ever used it. I didn't use it.
I know. I mean, yeah, people have. I mean, they designed it for the
I
use.
know they used it
Yeah.
to get the guys from that landed with the Apollo missions in the
Oh,
in the
yeah.
ocean.
Send it down, they climb on, boom, done.
That's how they got them.
Yeah.
But I mean, in law enforcement, we never used it. I was curious in the Coast Guard if you used it.
Not that I'm aware of. I did not use it in the Coast Guard. I don't believe they have it now. But I mean, there are other agencies and they have it, and there are other tools out there that are similar to that. You know, I mean.
Yeah. Like I said, we went from using we used the basket.
Yeah.
At least in my day, we used the basket, and we used the penetrator was the tool of choice for the majority of the rescues. Because we could put the victim, put the strap around them, and connect the diver, and the victim could go up together.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one hoist, and we're bringing two people up. But it was a lot of work to get them into the cabin. Yeah. You know, pulling them in. It's all technique, boys.
It is all technique.
I don't know how much more time you want to do, but I got a lot more stories, you know. So,
man, I'll keep going. I'm not scared. Come on. I'll tell you what, give me one more.
So, once again, just out and about working, you know. And the klaxon goes off, you know, that famous sound that we're all used to hearing in the SAR community. And start running out to the aircraft. We're getting the information fed to us as we're going to the aircraft. Yeah. You know, we don't know anything as we're running to the aircraft. We just know get in the aircraft, suit up, start up, and we'll depart and figure out where we're going from there. And we go over to it's a person in the water.
Okay.
Gowanus Canal. That's in the heart of Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn. So it's a canal. I don't know if it was a natural canal, which I'm sure it was at one point.
Yeah.
And then obviously now it's all man-made. You know, it's all been built up, and it's foul, as foul can be. It's
nasty water.
Nasty water because it doesn't. Whatever's in there stays in there because the tide comes up and pushes it back in, and tide comes out, it starts to come out. Tide comes back up and pushes all that sludge back in.
Nasty.
There used to be a tunnel that was open that would push the tides around and keep it fresh. Now, I don't know if it's changed. You know, I don't know if they ever fixed it.
Okay.
But it was foul. Like you would need tetanus. And yellow fever and malaria, whatever. If you touch that water, you were definitely getting sick of something.
And or you're immune to everything.
Everything. You know, you don't need to worry about the COVID. So anyway, the local precinct that was there, you know, I got into a foot pursuit, or a pursuit of a perpetrator.
Okay.
You like those words.
Yeah, I do like those words.
The perpetrator was on a bicycle.
Okay.
And pedaling, and I guess didn't realize that the road ended and a canal started and went head over heels into the canal.
Okay.
And so they called, we got a person in the water.
Nice.
And so, you know, this is where we're responding. And we're only minutes away from Floyd Manor Field to that. I want to say about 3 minutes. From the time we start to the time we arrive is 3 minutes.
Okay.
And it's a canal. I don't know if you can picture a canal. It's not like Florida, a canal where there's nice sloping, rolling hills.
No, these
are
like
walls.
Vertical
walls.
Straight up.
20 feet.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
So roadway, 20-foot drop, vertical wall, water. Go across, and it's basically the width of a city street.
Okay. So you're talking
maybe a little
like
wider,
maybe
55,
10,
60 feet.
Okay, all right. So two streets together. So a standard lane is 10 feet.
Yep. So this is a little. It's probably about 50 feet wide.
Dang. All right. So it's a ways from one wall to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not. Yeah. It's not really big by any stretch.
Yeah.
But it's not tiny.
Yeah.
and
you could fit a helicopter in between the walls.
And then there was the crossroad that crosses over.
Okay.
So where it happened was at the very end of the canal.
Yep.
So the victim at this point went into the water at probably the worst spot for us as the rescuers. So they were all pointing. So now you got one whole side of the canal where the perp went in.
Yeah.
And they were all pointing, and we all look, and we're like, and I was with my supervisor, but I was the senior pilot, and he's like, "What are we gonna do? We're gonna hoist from here?" I'm like, "Oh no, we're gonna go down there and pick her up." It ended up being a female, and no, we'll go down and we'll deploy the divers. And the divers like, "Yeah, we'll go. We'll do a surface." They're talking to the crew chief, and the crew chief's on the comms with us.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do a surface jump. And I'm like, you sure you don't want to wear the full face mask when you're going there? They're like, no, it's good. You guys are tough, man. You guys are
it's throwing up 3 days later. Ugh, why am I so sick? I can tell you why.
So anyway, I tell him I'm with Mike Hendricks, great guy, and he'll laugh when we get together and have a few drinks and we tell this story, because it's funny. So I make this approach. I'm like, we brief it. So I was going to come in, slow and low. She's holding on to a rope.
Okay.
That's with the floats. That
all right.
I don't know what it's there for. Maybe
Just...
people are swimming in there. I don't know. Anyway, it's so foul. It's so it's pitch black. The water. It's like sludge. I'm like, I don't even want like the downwash to touch the helicopter because it's going to smell. You're anticipating this foulness. So I make this approach. I come in. I give them about a 10, 15 foot. Like I said, 3 meter jump.
Okay.
It's a surface rescue. So these guys, but there's no wiggle room. I can't move left. I can't move right.
Right. You're in between walls.
And I'm down. And as I'm going down, I'm eye level with the police. The guys, the street guys. And now I'm going below them. Now they're above. They're looking down at us. And the divers come out. And normally we pick up.
Yeah.
Up and to the left.
Yeah, not
here.
I
can't go, so I come up vertical, and I get the same look. I'm watching. They're all looking, and Mike's
head
going,
down, like,
Mike,
what's up?
I'm like, they give the nod, bro, what you doing? And Mike is.
Wait, in New York. How you doing?
How you doing? And Mike is going. Hats, and they're all the hats. are flying about. They're going everywhere, the hats. And I'm like, they should have known better. There's a helicopter around.
A little more power.
So, I get up and I get out of the way, right? And he goes, that was cool, man. Mike is, he's like, man, that was cool. He goes, you got big balls. And I'm like, I don't feel that. I feel that it's a job we could have done.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to do it again.
Yeah.
We got to go
get our guy and the victim.
We got to
or I'm sorry, the perpetrator, depending on victim now.
So we come around. They call for the They call for the basket because they had to handcuff her.
Okay.
They put restraints on her
in the water.
The zip ties. Yeah, because she was fighting them.
Nice.
Yeah, she was fighting them. So
hey, for the record, you know who's going to win that battle? Yeah, the rescue men.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know what to do when it comes down to getting to the person that's in distress.
Our rescue guys are police officers that talk off of the microphone. That. But
no, it's just to let everybody else know that if you're gonna battle the rescuemen, you're gonna lose because we already know we're going in expecting to win the fight. Yeah. So
we just dunk you.
Exactly. I didn't want to tell them, but yeah.
So anyway, I'm pretty sure because I wasn't there. I wasn't physically in the water with her. I think they zip tied her.
Okay.
Just to restrain her hands, and they put her in. They call for the basket. And so they threw it because they couldn't put her on the. They couldn't put her on the rescue on the penetrator.
Oh yeah,
because her hands were zipped.
Yep.
So and they were afraid she would jump back in. So they put her in a basket, and then we hoisted her, just her alone, out of that, and then the divers were in the water. And so okay, well, we'll put her down on the street. We'll land on the street, and let the precinct take her.
Yeah.
It's perp now.
yeah. Now the victim is back into.
Perp
now we get to arrest her. Awesome.
So, and this is, once again, everything I'm saying we do, it's a normal evolution for the NYPD at the time. I don't know what they do today.
10, 15 years ago.
So, landing on the street, I know the aircraft. I know the streets are wide enough for. We assess this. I said, I'm going to put it there. We never brought the basket into the helicopter because we didn't want to deal with her. Yeah. So I wasn't going to land actually on the street.
Yeah.
I just wanted to lower the basket, and they
take her out,
and we're in comms with the precinct.
Right.
And we tell them what we're going to do. And so I come up, I do an orbit around. I give them plenty of time to get ready.
Yeah.
I bring the basket down. I line it up on the street.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to put it down. I get it on the thing, and Mike's going, door. I'm like, what, like, should I move? He goes, no. I go, so what's the door? He goes, the police car, we call them an RMP. The RMP door's open, and now it's fully open. So
it folded wide. Oh.
I'm like, what?
Come on, boys. Come on,
hats, boys. Like, these guys were so not accustomed to dealing with helicopters. They had the doors open. They had their hats on. So,
sorry, I don't mean to laugh at that. Sorry, NYPD.
We were like, so the door, the hats. At first he was going, the hats. The door. So they take the perp out, and now I'm like, all right, we bring up we get out of the way because we made this windstorm and damaged police vehicles and hats, and we get out of the way. The crew chief brings the basket back into the aircraft, and now we're looking for our divers, and we can't find them. Like, where are the divers? Where are the rescue guys? What they did was they swam over to the crossover.
Yeah.
And there was a ladder, and they climbed up the ladder, and they're on the street.
Okay.
So we're looking, and the people in the neighborhood are all out. You know, this is a local neighborhood. Like, it's old Italian.
Everybody's excited now. They want to see what's going on.
So this is we would call them Brooklyn hillbillies. They were the old Italian that lived in this neighborhood for 50 years.
Yeah.
I don't even think they spoke English. They spoke real Brooklyn and Italian. You know, this neighborhood was awesome. I mean, poor. It wasn't a rich neighborhood, but it was just family.
Yeah.
You know? And they came out and they were squirting. I didn't know this until afterwards, but apparently, so we're looking at our divers, and they're filled with, they're covered in bubbles, like soap.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the neighborhood, the people, the old ladies in the neighborhood coming out with like dish detergent and squirting them down with thing, and the old men were shooting them with their hose instead of watering the cement like they normally do.
Yeah, yeah.
They were watering our divers as they were walking, and they were just standing there. and they were taking this bubble bath in the middle of the street, and I'm like, only in New York.
Only in New York,
man.
Oh my God.
It's, we touched down in there was a ball field just on the other side of, like a block away from where they were, and so they saw where we were landing, and they got scrubbed down, and they came out and they were squeaky clean when they got to the helicopter.
Man, how do I smell? A little lemony right now. This is great.
So we talk about all fun and different things, but you don't know. What do you say? You don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Each job is different.
Every rescue, every job.
I mean, we use the same techniques and tools and,
Yep.
and equipment
Yep.
and training, but every single job is different.
Yep.
And you keep it within, you keep it real.
Yeah.
That's the real rescue.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey,
Oh,
listen
little
to
pun
the
right there.
Listen to the real rescue.
Awesome.
But no, it's every job, and I mean, like I said, NYPD, we do it, 10 times a day, every day, probably more than anybody else.
Wow.
I mean, that not all rescues.
Yeah.
A lot of recoveries, dead bodies, a lot of unfounded jobs. We respond.
Yeah.
But every single day, that SAW helicopter responds to probably 10 jobs, 10 call-outs,
Holy-
at least.
That's awesome.
300 plus calls a year. That I don't even know the exact number. I mean, crazy amount. It's so they become very, very routine, but different.
Yeah.
And each one, I could keep going on and on and on. I know. I mean, we've dropped divers. We've dropped divers. They made the rescue. They come out and they want to fight the crew chief. And like, what happened? He didn't zip. They do the check with the dry suit.
Yeah.
You guys wore a dry suit?
Oh, yeah.
So the dry suit. So the zipper in the back.
No. All of our zippers are in the front for
Now
good
the Mustang.
reason.
Yeah, the Mustang ones
Yeah.
now are in the but a scuba diving dry suit has
Yeah.
that zipper in the back.
Okay.
Right, and so there's a big zipper, and part of the crew chief job is to check the zippers in, and it was a very fast rescue in Central Park in the lake,
Okay.
and it was a great rescue. We got there, and I think we got to the scene faster than the scuba guys got to be able to get dressed.
Oh, wow. So quick.
so-
You're like,
so
you're
within,
airborne and we're on scene.
We're on scene 6
Yeah.
minutes, and we knew exactly where we were going. They deployed, and I see one diver come back up. Like one guy gives a thumbs up, and the other one's, and he goes, like he gives the thumbs up for the second guy,
Yeah.
and meanwhile his zipper was open and filled with water, his dry suit, and he had to walk to shore. And the other guy did the rescue, and he came out. Him and the crew chief got into fisticuffs over, So I mean, there's funny stuff that goes on.
Oh my gosh.
It's. But every job is different, and that's why training and
Yeah.
checklists. And one of you guys, we talk about checklists.
Yeah.
Checklists are essential.
Absolutely.
Verbal checklists, mental checklists, and crew coordination checklists. But not to slow the progress of the mission down,
Right.
because a lot of this stuff is done prior to you even starting. You go in for the day, you do your checklist.
Yep.
These things are all pre-flight. It has nothing to do with the actual flight.
Right.
You do it.
Check your helicopter.
because-
Check your gear. Do a hoist check.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then all that is done, and then when mission time comes, you're not doing that during the mission.
Right.
And
Right.
and it's very hard to get the young fledgling guys to want to do, because they want to go.
Yeah.
But you got to come in. You have your coffee, go out there and pre-flight your aircraft.
Yep.
And run through what you're going to do. And if it's a new crew member, run through scenarios.
Yeah.
A couple of scenarios. This is what we're going to do. And make sure your whole crew comes out and pre-flights with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about the divers. I'm talking about the crew chief. Everybody comes out.
Yeah.
Once again, I got stories. We did another. This will be the last one.
Okay.
I know you.
I'm all right. I mean, we're only an hour and 40 in. This is good.
Yeah, we did a really good rescue at night, beach rescue. We don't ever, in the 16 years I was there, I can name 2 times we landed on the beach.
Okay.
It's just not something that we
Yeah.
normally do.
No,
I'm not saying we don't do it. It's just not something that we normally do.
it's a rarity.
It's a rarity.
And actually, it should be noted that the New York beaches are usually packed with people all the time.
Yeah.
So you're not
Not
just
at night.
well, you know what I'm saying though, like
But
the majority of the time, because you have a lot of people in that area, and there are limited beaches, or you got to travel, so they'll be like, oh, no, let's just go to this beach.
So
Anyway,
we did not intend to land on the beach,
okay,
but the landing zone just don't stop. The landing zone that we were going to land at they had built one of those temporary carnivals
okay, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
They used that because it was a big parking lot, but it was a medevac LZ designated for that beach.
okay,
So normally they wouldn't park any, but they had a permit and they used it, and it was
now
set
you
up.
no longer have an LZ.
So we didn't have an LC, but we landed on the beach.
Okay,
The scuba guys they went in from, we didn't deploy them. We shut down on the beach. They went in the water.
yeah,
They didn't find anybody. We had to find them. That was a missing. They did a search for a missing,
okay,
and ends up the bodies were recovered a couple of days later.
okay,
Down.
like way away. Current took them.
They got caught in the current. These kids, and we lost 2 or 3 kids in the current. Yeah, it was terrible. But the crew gets back on, me being one of them, and we fly back to. I was co-pilot, so I can't take the blame. But we get back to the hangar.
Yeah.
And the crew chief comes in. He's ashen white, and he goes, "We got a problem." I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's the problem?" We open. He was doing his daily inspection when the call came out,
Okay,
and he was putting fluids into the transmission, and he thought he had closed everything up, and he had left the funnel
yeah,
in the transmission, but it wasn't closed, and so normally probably wouldn't have mattered if we landed anywhere else, but we landed on the beach.
so all the sand.
Well, you don't know. You
Right.
don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah, so we had to pull the transmission.
Oh.
Just,
Oh.
it's like one of those things.
Yeah.
It's Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
Normally, and I'm telling you, in the 16 years I flew for them, we landed on the beach twice.
Wow. And the one of them you landed at.
And it has the transmission cap was off.
Yep.
And it wasn't off because he forgot it off. He was in the middle of doing the daily because it was at night. We were dailying the aircraft, and he missed it. He just, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
And
that happens more often than we like in the aviation world. A tool is left somewhere, and that's a whole nother conversation that I'm not going to even dive into right now. But
yeah, I mean, the suggestions that we had was a SAR aircraft is any aircraft that's going to be called out for mission.
Yeah.
Needs to be not touched.
Right.
And you want to daily an aircraft, daily this one. When you're done dailying it, that now is the SAR aircraft.
And now you
temporarily, at least, until you
daily the other one.
And that's what came out of it, I believe, for a while. I don't know what they're doing today. But it is a big thing, and it happens too often.
Right.
How many times, you check and there's an oil cap off.
Right.
And it's not done intentionally.
Nope.
It's just our maintenance staff is overworked in the aviation community. Our crew members, both pilot, SAW guys, the crew members in the back, ground handlers, management, are overworked and understaffed.
Right.
To the point where we make mistakes that hopefully are not life-threatening.
Right.
Could be if we don't catch them.
Man, that is another conversation for sure, because there's a lot of that needs to be addressed in the entire industry. So You know, I mean, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of guys that do the right thing all the time, but it's the time that you slip. You know, and,
Yeah.
yeah. Not even on purpose, like you said.
So
not on
you know,
purpose.
there's guys that we believe do the things right all the time, and just because you follow the checklist to the T and do everything, doesn't mean you're the only way it's done.
Right.
I'm not a true believer in. I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid and say that. I'm not going to make anybody. Procedures. We follow procedures.
Right.
100%. Checklist is just one of those procedures.
Right.
Mental work, you know, through a good checklist. You know, a lot of times they say your best co-pilot, the best captain. You know, if you fly by yourself, you're both. You know, your CRM has to be the best.
Right.
You know, when you fly in a dual crew, you know,
you've got backup.
You got backup. So, you know, you could read a checklist when you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
When you
pull out that checklist and read, because now your situational awareness is not outside where it belongs.
Right. Right.
You know, so as an instructor teaching people how to do something, I say you have to have a mental checklist.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
By all means, a physical, readable checklist is there to back you up. It is not there to be the only way to do it.
Right. I totally agree.
You have to follow the checklist.
Yep.
I have other issues with some checklists that we have, but checklists are done. Human nature does things one at a time.
Right.
Because we can only say things one at a time.
Yeah.
So a checklist is read one item at a time. Not always in an order that needs to be done. We can only do things step 1, step 2, step 3. Not step 1, because if you don't do step 1, step 2 can't be done.
Right. Right.
So it's not not the only way to do it. So if you go out of sequence for a reason, it's not because there's no harm and foul in doing it out of sequence. It's just
it messes up your flow.
It messes up your flow.
And now you forget something, or now you miss something. It's as simple as I'll do a simple little one, and it doesn't. This is my opinion. Any agency that does this out there, hoist power on. Is that in your checklist or not? I don't need it in my checklist because I can't hoist without hoist power, right? I mean, I'm going to ask for it eventually. Right. But if it's not on my checklist, and then all of a sudden I'm standing on the skid and I'm like, why is this shit not working? I haven't asked for hoist power. Right. If it was in my checklist, now I know it's on, and so on and so forth. So there's...
And then I come from another say, why do I have to even ask for hoist power? It should be on. Why am I turning it off?
There are arguments about that as well.
It has no effect on flight. None whatsoever.
Here would be my argument with that. And it would be, especially at night, if my eyes are inside the cabin and you have hoist power on and we have a runaway hoist, now all of a sudden you have a hoist cable going out and I don't pick it up. And now we're flying, again, forward flight. So that would be my biggest argument about leaving hoist power on. I would rather have it off until I absolutely need it. However, there are times...
That's a good point.
So at night, if I need a searchlight and I need hoist power on because it's connected to the system, now I have to have the searchlight on, but I have to have hoist power on. So that's, again, where the argument comes in is like, for me personally, I would rather keep hoist power off so I don't have to worry about a hoist malfunction as we're flying in a search pattern or over terrain or over a vessel or
Right.
That would be mine. I know where your head's at though.
It's a valid point.
This is great because this is great conversation. I mean, there are a lot of people that don't have this conversation. It's like, no, this is the only way to do it. Well, maybe. Yeah. Or why don't you try something else?
I mean, once again, a lot of things I did were done differently than we do today because of technology, and systems and training and different things. I've been out of the the hoisting game for just a wee bit.
Yeah, it's just
How old are you? No, I'm just kidding.
Old enough to know better. Come on now.
And, you know, you learn. You know,
Yeah.
and if you don't learn, the day we stop learning, the day we die, right?
Agreed.
So,
you know what? Let me circle back to something you said in actually the beginning, and that is that, you know, with everything that we do, we keep ourselves in check, and we keep our buddies in check because of exactly what you're talking about a little bit ago, where, you know, if you let yourself get a big head or you think you're better than the situation,
yeah.
somebody's going to get hurt. And I truly believe that I'm going to say the majority of us, not all of us, but the majority of us that do this job are very humble. Yeah. You know, it takes, you know.
It's agreed. You know, if you have a guy that's a rogue or a cowboy or whatever you want to call him, you know, that's going to put the crew at risk.
Yeah.
He could handle the aircraft, knows the job, knows everything, can do the mission, but yet doesn't take into account what's happening with the crew. You know, puts the crew in jeopardy every time he flies.
Right.
Or hard, you know,
Yeah.
is not good.
Yeah.
And those are the ones you need to weed out about community. And how do we do that? You know, you don't want to take people out and say, oh, you can't do it, but you can't do the job safely.
Yeah.
Then we don't need
Right.
you. Because if you're I think this is what we were getting at earlier. If you're going to be the accident, if you're going to rescue people and yet you become the accident,
you're not helping anybody.
no, you're not helping anybody. First of all, there's nobody coming to get you.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and
or it's going to be a long time. So now you've just made both situations work.
yeah, and that was always our priority in the police. You know, I think that's where I was going with earlier. Another story. It was another sad day in police history. New Jersey City Police lost 2 police officers. They had driven off a bridge. I can't tell you what year it was offhand. It was Christmas morning. The fog. So I was on a double shift.
Okay.
I don't want to tell you I was on a triple because we weren't allowed to do triples. But I was.
Then we will not say that you were on the triple shift.
I'm going to have to cut this short. I got 10 minutes. 1 second.
Roger.
I got to just answer my wife.
Cut this short, man. Bro, we've been going for like 2
yeah.
hours.
No, my wife just told me I have to go pick my daughter up at school. But since I'm right here, I can.
Hustle.
So 10 minutes. No, I get 10 minutes.
Okay.
So,
Cops. Foggy.
Oh, so
Christmas
so
Eve.
I was on this double
Triple.
shift. I was the SAW guy up until midnight. The
Okay.
SAW captain. You know, we minimum crew. It's 1 aircraft. You know, we have on. So we're going to respond to. Well, 2 aircraft. We have the patrol ship and we have the SAW crew. So, and usually just minimum guys. This is crew chief and the crews. Yeah, because it's a holiday. It's Christmas Eve and it's Christmas Day. I was single, no kids, you know. I took care of my brothers.
Nice.
Because I said, I want Thanksgiving off, you know.
Nice. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So we always had a workout, you know, a nice thing. I would take care of the guys until I had family, and then I said, oh, too bad.
Yeah.
Now I'm the senior guy. I take off when I want. So,
Car accident.
yeah, I'm trying to put it. So I worked up until midnight, and then the next crew comes on. But I'm part of that next crew because I'm working the night shift as well.
Okay.
I'm working the double shift, right? And the supervisor, leave him nameless, he says to me, "I'm going to be the SAW guy, and you will take patrol." And I'm like, you know, I'm on a double, triple. And he goes, oh yeah, don't worry. It's the fog is down to our ankles, you know, because we were at Floyd Bennett Field, lovingly known as Fog Bennett Field.
Okay.
Yeah. So when the fog rolled in, it rolled in quite strong. So no big deal. I go lay down in the bunk, and I hear the klaxon go off. So I'm gonna get out. There's only a few of us. We have to tow the aircraft out of the hangar.
Yeah.
We open up the hangar doors, and the fog is rolling in.
Like rolling into the hangar. Yeah.
And over the speakers, like, 2 police officers, Jersey City, went into the water. We're responding. I'm like, man, this fog is really bad. I'm not saying, I'm not the SAW guy. And out comes the sergeant. Goes, okay. He goes, Glenn, you're gonna fly the SAW mission. I'm like,
wait, you just told me I'm not the SAW guy. Now I'm the SAW guy?
I go, I'm rubbing my eyes. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, we got 2 officers down. You and I will go do it. I'm not going to take one of the other guys, and you fly it. You're better in the fog than I am. I'm like,
better in the fog?
Nobody's good in the fog.
Nobody's good in the fog.
But because we're police officers,
okay,
we're going to respond.
Okay.
And I brief the mission to him. I go, okay, I know my way to Jersey City by street. And all I need is 75 feet, 100 feet. As long as I can fly above the street lights, I'm getting us there.
Yeah.
To put the divers in the water. We got brothers in the water. This is...
Yeah. All right, so, you know what? This is a whole nother conversation right here because you're pushing the limits.
Oh, yeah. We were... I mean, it was... I'm telling you, the fog was down to my ankles. And... But I had a lot of confidence in me knowing where I'm going.
Yeah.
I know my obstacles. I know where I'm going. If I could follow Flatbush Avenue straight, I can get us to the Hudson River. I can hop across to the city, hop across to Jersey City.
Okay.
I have a plan.
Okay.
I take off, and I'm in it. I'm IMC. That's in the clouds.
Yeah.
I can't see the ground. I can't see the sky. I can't see my co-pilot. I can't see the fog was.
I can't see
my
co-pilot. That's awesome.
And we take off, and I'm like, I tell him, I go, boss. I said, I can't even see Flatbush Avenue. I said, I'm flying. I'm on with the tower now. I go. Well, he's, we declare, I say, PD is off, and he goes, you guys VFR? Like, no. He goes, what do you need from us? I go, yeah, we got officers down, and so we tried to climb up out of the fog, and I couldn't. I was in it. I was IMC. So he circles me around, and we had.
So he's watching you through radar and giving you
radar, and he circles us around, and I climb up to like 500 feet, and I shoot a pseudo approach back into Floyd Bennett Field. They had all the radio. They had all the radio cars on with the lights.
Yeah,
and I was able to see the lights, and he's like, "Oh, let me know what you need," and I was able to touch back down at Floyd Bennett Field. And we got the divers out of the helicopter into a car, and they drove to. Yeah, it's a terrible feeling not to be able to respond.
Yeah,
and it was a stupid idea to try to attempt that mission. Yeah. But you have this adrenaline and the need to help fellow police officer.
There's that pressure there.
Well, there really was no pressure. Nobody's telling us we have to go.
Yeah.
It's that internal want to help.
Yeah.
When an officer
your brothers that are down. Yeah.
It was you have to know your limitations, and I was able to. I mean, I had a lot of very good training. I'm very comfortable in the Northeast. We flew, in the clouds all the time. Yeah. A lot of IFR. in the system and out of the system, scud running.
Yeah.
But that's why I would have been comfortable doing it. It's not, scud running is, to me, the stupidest thing in the world. Killed Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
But he wasn't comfortable scud running. It's a different story. There's differences. I'm not saying to do it. I highly recommend not ever scud running. And at one point in my career, I did it one time too much, and I had a celebrity on board. I was flying a private helicopter. I ended up having a touchdown in a ball field.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, that'll be the last time I ever do this. I said, not for $35 an hour.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
No.
And so you have to know your limitations.
Yeah.
So this is another thing about SAR. We lost recently, a few years back, that SAR helicopter up in, where was it, up in the UK somewhere, or Ireland or something. Big SAR helicopter crashed into the one little obstacle out in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you remember that.
I've heard the story. I don't know.
I don't know the whole story, but they were flying. I don't know if it was an S-92 or something, or a. I think, and they were searching for something. They even said there's an obstacle there, and they were talking about it, and they hit it,
Yeah.
and they hit the one thing that they had to avoid, and it's just terrible that we think that we could do something like that, and you get yourself into that mindset. I can do it. You could do it until you hit something,
Right.
and kill everybody on board the aircraft. A perfectly good helicopter. That's what drives me insane in our community.
Yeah.
That we crash perfectly good helicopters and kill people.
Yeah.
While we're trying to
rescue
somebody.
Yeah. Again, now we've done no good for the people in distress.
So I've done it. I've tried it. I know it was stupid. I had nobody to tell me no. I wasn't even assigned as the PIC for the mission, for the shift, which was even more stupid that I took the mission. I was on a triple, No,
we didn't do triple.
Oh, that triple. I was on a double and a half. And it was just really, really stupid on my part. And then especially as being an instructor in the unit, the senior pilot in the unit.
Yeah.
Why? But like you're saying to yourself, I gotta go because I got brothers down.
Yeah, man.
I gotta go.
Glenn, thank you for coming. You have given us some amazing insight for everything, dude. I can't thank you enough.
No,
so
man, it's fun.
I
wish I had exciting rescues like you guys.
Oh, whatever,
like the
dude.
Coast Guard. Did I tell you the time the NYPD rescued the Coast Guard?
We're not gonna get into that.
Don't talk about that. I don't want Rob the Koopman to get mad at me. I love you,
ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, Glenn Hoffman. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, man.
And with that, we are out of here.
Oh, listen to the Real ResQ. It's a great show.
Thanks, man.
Be good, bro.
I'll see you later. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Real ResQ podcast. Please take a minute and, like my daughters like to tell me, like and subscribe. Oh yeah. I'm pulling chocks and taking off. But before I go, if anyone out there has a rescue story that they would be willing to share, I would be humbled and honored to have you as a guest. Or if you have any questions about any of the rescues or anything else that we talk about here on this podcast, send me an email. TheRealResQ@gmail.com. That's TheRealResQ@gmail.com. You can also check us out on our Facebook and Instagram page at The Real ResQ. That's at TheRealResQ. I also want to give a special thank you to all of you staying on the watch today. Always remember that when that SAR alarm goes off, those in distress are praying for a miracle. They are going to get you. Until next time, fly safe and swim hard.